everybody. My name is Dina Stetson, and I'm the VP of Membership Marketing and Communication at Temple Beth. This year, we are introducing our new clergy, Rev. Blumberg and Cantor Wolff. Today's program will be centered around these two great clergy people. And Rev. Blumberg just started with us in July and is in the last year of his education at Hebrew College to be ordained as a rabbi next year. Cantor Wolff has been with TBA for the last couple of years as a cantorial intern and just recently graduated from Hebrew College as a cantor. So welcome, both of you. We decided that one of the best ways for the public to get to know our new clergy team was to have a televised sit-down interview with them. So here we go. So we're going to start with some rapid-fire questions. Shabbat dinner guest, dead or alive? Who would be your choice?
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's wonderful. I would love to have Abraham Joshua Heschel, a prominent rabbi around the time of the civil rights movement. He marched with Martin Luther King Jr. He had some really, really beautiful ideas, both about Shabbat and about the future of Judaism, about prophecy, about where we find God in our lives. And I would love to have him sit down at my table, speak with him, enjoy some food and some good wine, and do a little bit of singing.
All right. Eilat or Masada?
Masada for me. What a majestic place. Being in the desert in Israel and looking out and thinking about the history, just an incredible, incredible place.
Funny moment on the bima?
Funny moment on the bima. Wonderful. What a great question. You know, somebody told me once that I should really change out my water bottle on the bima. And I thought that was pretty funny. I had a bright orange water bottle at the time. And I thought, are people really looking at the rabbi's water bottle? So now I have a pretty plain and boring one so that I don't call too much attention to it.
All right, great. Favorite Judaica in your home?
Oh, wonderful question. We have some really special Shabbat candles from when my wife and I were living in Israel. Both her parents bought her a Shabbat candle set, made a ceramic set, and my parents bought me sort of a travel set of metal candlesticks. And so we try to light those every Shabbat together, and we think of our families as we do that.
Excellent. A book that changed your life, not one of the 5 obvious ones.
A book that changed my life and really set me on the path to the rabbinate is a book called Sacred Fragments by Rabbi Neil Gilman. He just passed away a couple years ago. And in it, he gives a lot of different ideas about what Judaism can mean in each of our lives, what God can mean in each of our lives, what revelation can be for us. And it opened my mind to lots of different ways of thinking about how we navigate the world, how we navigate our Judaism.
All right. Red Sox or Yankees?
Oh, I'm just not a baseball guy.
You got to pick.
All right. Well, Red Sox.
All right. Good. Good answer.
I think I'll anger less people if I pick the Red Sox, right?
Summer or winter?
Winter, actually. I really crave it in the summer. I love the beginning of the heat of the summer, but it gets to be too much.
Yeah, especially now. All right. You're off the hook. Cantor, ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Favorite Jewish holiday to explain to a non-Jew?
I'm going to say Shabbat. Shabbat should be a part of everyone's life. It's just a good personal practice to take a Shabbat, and it's also part and parcel of Christianity and Judaism. Shabbat.
Jerusalem or Tel Aviv?
Well, I lived in Tel Aviv for 2 years, so it's very close to my heart. And I spent a month this summer in Jerusalem, so it's also close to my heart.
Gotta pick.
I'm going to say Tel Aviv. I know it so well, and it's just so vibrant, and it's so much fun. And it's also so Jewish, despite the fact that it's not Jerusalem. It's still so Jewish.
Excellent. All right. Song you always sang the wrong words to, either cantoral or pop.
Song I always sang the wrong words to. Well, okay. The truth is that I am like a melody person, not a word person. So I have a hard time remembering words. Bob Dylan songs. I love Bob Dylan. I know all of his songs, but I never get the words right, and there are tons of words.
Yeah, cool. Favorite Jewish food you look forward to all year?
Gefilte fish.
Really?
I know it's an unpopular answer. I just love it. Salty and full of protein. I just love gefilte fish. I actually eat it year round.
Instrument you wish you could play?
Well, I'll answer that question with I play the piano and the guitar and the drums and the clarinet, and I sing.
Okay.
And I play the bass. The thing I don't play that I would like to play.
But you wish to play. Yes.
Yeah. I love to be a competent cellist. I love the cello. The cello to me sounds like a male voice. So to me, I feel this connection to the cello.
Cool. All right. Patriots versus Giants.
I'm from DC, so versus Giants. Patriots. I am a baseball guy and not a football guy.
Okay. Switch the questions.
Patriots.
All right. Cats or dogs?
I love them both, but dogs.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that was a really good get to know you kind of couple of minutes. That was great. Rob Blumberg, you're from Southern California, right? And your wife is from Worcester. How did you meet?
We met doing a junior semester abroad at Hebrew University in Jerusalem, Israel. So if I had gotten that question, certainly would have been Jerusalem. We met there. We were actually neighbors on the same floor. And my wife is a classical flutist by training. And I heard this beautiful flute music. And I was introduced to her by a very close mutual friend. And I said, wow, your playing is so beautiful. And we went from there, and we've been together ever since.
Oh, that's really nice. How long have you been married?
We just celebrated 7 years of marriage about 2 weeks ago. And,
congratulations.
Thank you. And it's been really wonderful. We actually, for our anniversary, we took our 2 kids. We have a 4-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And we took our kids to Tower Hill Botanic Garden close by, where we actually got married 7 years ago. And to go back there on our anniversary and to be able to bring our kids to right at the place where the chuppah, the wedding canopy, stood was just so beautiful.
That's so nice. Great. And you've moved now to this Northeast. You're dealing with all the heat and humidity. How are you finding the weather? And is it, are you adapting?
It certainly takes some time to adapt. I think that I can adapt to the winter much better than the summer.
Yeah.
The humidity, I always do the elbow stickiness test. That's how you can tell how humid it is when you're wearing a short sleeve shirt, and how long it takes for your arm to unstick. That's how you know how humid it is.
I usually tell by the hair thing. Awesome. So Cantor, you had talked about some IDF training in Israel.
Oh yeah, good memory.
Tell us about that.
So after college, kind of on a lark, I moved to Israel, and the first thing I did was this program for diaspora Jews from all over the world, to come to Israel and to go through basic training, just like they were in the army, to experience what it's like to be in the Israeli army. So for 3 months, I lived on an army base. I wore a uniform. I went on these they were called a masa, and we would basically spend all day walking through the desert carrying sandbags. It's a real thing, and it was kind of a test of your mettle.
Mhm.
For me, I learned Hebrew, and I got to know the country. I got to know what it's like to be in the Israeli army, and because, of course, all Israelis have to serve in the army. And it was an amazing experience. I made friends, Jewish friends from Mexico, from Australia, from Brazil, and these are friends I still have. And after the 3 months, I decided that was enough. I did not want to
Yes.
but it was an amazing experience.
Right. Definitely test your mettle. What was the hardest thing you had to do?
I had to shave my head.
That
I had long hair at that time, and they forced me, as per Army rules, you had to have a regulation haircut, just like in
right.
our
And
Army.
no facial hair.
Yeah, yeah. So I had long hair, and I was like, I don't want to shave my head, and they said you have to shave your head. So I did,
Wow.
but it was hard.
I'll look for pictures about that. Excellent. All right, so let's start talking about the temple. Both of you are going to be co-directors of education at the temple. Rob, you're going to be responsible for the higher grades, and Cantor, you're going to be responsible for the lower grades, as I understand. We haven't started yet. We are still taking applications and registration forms for schools, so if you're interested, please contact the temple office. So why don't we talk about some goals of the both higher and lower education. You can bounce off each other during this part. Rob, why don't you start?
Something that I'm thinking about a lot and is always in the back of my head, especially when thinking about children and Jewish education, is positive Jewish engagement. And it's something that I talk about a lot and is so important to me. I have a background in Jewish education. I taught in a Jewish day school, middle school setting for 5 years before rabbinical school. And for me, it's all about making sure that our children and our teens are engaged in Judaism, in Jewish learning, in Jewish life, that they're making sure that the way that they're understanding Judaism is that it is their own. And every single person has their own way that they identify with Judaism, that they connect, things that they do and don't believe in. And I see our job as facilitating that experience for our children and for our teens, and making them feel like it's really theirs to own. It really is their inheritance, their birthright, and for Jews by choice, for that it's a part of their lives as well to choose what it is that we believe in, what we take with us forward, and that's not always easy. We're called Yisrael, which Hebrew means struggling with God, and so that's a lifelong experience. But I want us all to be engaged in that and to be having positive Jewish experiences. And by the way, to be enjoying ourselves and being with other Jewish kids and teens and families, and singing and enjoying the fullness that is Jewish life.
Definitely in these times, we're all going through some wacky situations, not only with the pandemic, but the social outcries that are happening not only in this nation, but around the world. How will you incorporate that into the Jewish learning for the higher education?
Wow, you hit the nail on the head. It's we're living through some really unprecedented times. We see that word a lot, but really in so many ways. And Judaism and Jewish text and Jewish history has so much to bring to bear on our current situation. I've heard from students already who want to talk about anti-Semitism in the world, who want to talk about social justice issues, and where do our Jewish values and our Jewish texts come to inform how we see the world? For me, I'm informed by a Jewish teaching that says that there's infinite life, that there's infinite worth to every human life, that every single human being was created in good. And if we truly live that out, then we need to see that in all of the spheres of existence. We need to see it around our country and around our world, and we need to think about what our individual place is in order to make that happen.
Well, I'm very excited about the next year. I'm excited about having these teens work with you and learn from you and expand their horizons with you. That's going to be great. So Cantor, the lower grades, these little kids are dealing with lack of socialization and Zoom calls and, working with the computer, and how are we going to engage these little minds and help them formulate their own thoughts about Judaism and their little places in the world?
I think about Jewish education as being, for me, it's really important that it's rich and engaging. So rich in the sense that we want these kids to grow up and to go through bar and bat mitzvah and to feel comfortable and confident and positive, as Rob Blumberg said, about being Jewish. We want them to become happy Jewish adults. And so we want to make sure that our education, it has a richness to it, that everything we do is meant to help them feel like Jews and to understand what it's like to be a Jew. I also think about the importance of making sure that what we're doing is engaging, and of course that's a huge challenge with Zoom. But I think a lot about experiential education. So meaning that instead of just teaching Hebrew words or holidays or Jewish history, we're giving our students Jewish experiences, things that they
like
can.
What?
Great question. So things that they can look back on and say, oh yeah, I remember that. That was a thing I did in synagogue, and it was fun, and it was a powerful thing in my life. Things like having Shabbat services led or co-led by even our youngest children can be in our services and sing and read for us. Also, like having during our religious school, things like creating plays or skits, learning where there is an activity happening that engages a student's body and their minds in a way that they're not going to forget. And in terms of Zoom, it's a huge challenge. Any teacher will tell you that not being able to be physically present with students, it's a huge challenge. So what we're thinking about is Zoom, as we're doing now. Zoom is really made for people talking to each other, and it works well. So what we're talking about is what's known as a flipped classroom, where our kids, when they're not on Zoom with us, will have ways to engage with Judaism that their teachers will give to them. And then when we come together on Zoom, they can get to know each other, get to know their teachers, and as you said, engage in some socialization with other Jewish kids.
And on a different note, so to speak, you are responsible for the TBA choir, which I am a part of. So any changes or new things coming down the road this year for the choir or junior choir?
I aim to feature you guys, the choir and the band, as much as possible. I would like you guys to sing solos because you sing beautifully, and I want to feature you and raise you up. When we're doing prayer music, I don't want to do all the singing. I want other people to be involved. I want to share that joy of leading prayer for our community.
So what was really neat, over the past couple of months, we've had Shabbat Hallelujahs where we've had individuals singing via Zoom. And this past week, you took your technical know-how and you pulled us all together, and we were able to sing together in harmony together, and it was beautiful. So how was that experience for you?
Thank you for bringing that up. So everyone in the choir made individual videos, And then using video editing software, I put it all together into what's called a virtual choir video. And it looks like we're all in the same place at the same time, but because of COVID, we can't be. So it's a virtual choir video. And for me, the process, it's a lot of fun. I get to sit on my computer and I get to watch all of you singing and praying. And then I get to use my technical brain a little bit and create something that it's a visual of our community. It's our choir. So we're going to keep doing that because unfortunately, singing together in person is not really safe right now still.
Right.
So there'll be more videos of our choir, and that's a nice way for us to be together.
Great. So, Rob, you're coming into a new temple, and, temples and congregations, we have our traditions. Jews have traditions and customs, but you'll find that Temple Beth Am might not have the same customs and traditions that you have and that you've grown up with and developed on your own. How will you incorporate your traditions with the Temple Beth Am community traditions and customs?
In my own Jewish adult life, I've found things that really work for me, things that I really am attached to and appreciate. And this synagogue has been established for many, many years and has its own customs and its own ways of doing things. And I feel like we can really mesh those together. And what I've already seen is that, first of all, I think that many, many traditions and customs that are already enmeshed in the TBA community, I definitely jive with. And I hope that I can also introduce some new ideas, some new ways of thinking. With Cantor Wolff's amazing repertoire of Jewish songs and settings, we can expand our thinking a little bit. We can think about old prayers in new ways, which is really, really beautiful and wonderful. And for me, it always sort of goes back to, well, what are our goals? What are we trying to do together as a community? And part of it is certainly a huge part of it is that we want to feel like we are together as a community, that we have those things that bring us together and make us one. We also want to grow together. And so I see it as part of my job to help this community continue to grow in a way that is mostly comfortable and sometimes pushes the boundaries a little bit. And everyone will certainly let me know when I've pushed the boundaries too much. But I hope that we really, really grow together as a community as we move forward.
So I think what's interesting about our community is that we have an older community, and a lot of us grew up with the old prayer book. And a couple of years ago, we had to flip over to this new prayer book with all these pages and different poems and interpretations. You're relatively young. So did you kind of grow up with the Mishkan Tefillah?
Great question. I did not, personally. I grew up with the Sidur Sim Shalom, which was from the conservative movement. So I grew up in a conservative Jewish synagogue. And I'm trying to think, as you say that, I'm trying to think about all of the different prayer books that I've used in the last, let's say, 5 years. And I have a spot on my shelf with probably 7 or 10 different prayer books. And first of all, what I love about them is that I've seen a lot of different poems and interpretations and readings that maybe I pull from the Reconstructionist prayer book and can bring in to our services here in the Reform movement and using our Mishkan Tefillah Sidur, which I must say I find to be really mostly user-friendly and a really positive experience. But that change is really hard. I mean, I'm a visual person, and so to suddenly change the visual on you when that's something that you've been used to for so many years, it certainly takes time. And that's why we're together as a community to help one another and to grow together and to say, hey, there are there are definitely some positives to these new experiences, and maybe new translations that take out the, we give thanks to thee.
Right. Thee and I.
Right. Some updates.
Right. Excellent. So we've had some pretty good programming already since this summer, actually, even with Zoom. We've had a couple of social justice movie nights highlighting the Black Lives Matter movement. We highlighted the the Holocaust Memorial in Boston. We also have currently a TBA Donates project going on right now. And we have something coming up called PJ Havdalah, which I think is going to be really cute. So everything is listed on our website. Can you talk about these programs or any future programs that you'd like to see at the temple?
Well, our PJ Havdalah is exciting. Havdalah is not a thing that we typically have had a lot of programming for at TBA, and so we've been talking about teaching about Havdalah. Havdalah is such a beautiful ritual. It starts us off
So
on our
pretty.
week. Yeah, and it's a nice segue from that feeling of Shabbat rest and that kind of gentle feeling of, okay, well, had my rest, and now it's time to jump into my week. So we're hoping that can be a meaningful ritual. We've also been talking about including Havdalah usually is Saturday night, but our religious school students are there Sunday morning, and so we've discussed having a Havdalah ritual on some Sunday mornings as a way to teach about this really meaningful ritual to our youngest kids. The idea of taking a break and then jumping back into your life is appropriate for even the youngest kids to understand that it's appropriate to take a breath every now and again.
Rob, any thoughts?
Sure. I'm really excited about what's coming down the pike. We also are going to be doing, I'll be teaching a class on preparing our hearts for the high holidays, a three session program where we'll be learning some of the texts, some of the rituals, some of the things that really get us ready to feel like we're entering a new Jewish year together. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different this year because we'll be on Zoom. And so to do some of that preparation beforehand and to think about what we're hoping to get out of our own personal high holiday experience and to take with us into the new year, I'm really looking forward to doing. And I hope that there will be other adult education programs in the future.
Well, I want to thank both of you for your time. This has been just a lovely chat. I do hope the community has gotten to know you a little bit better. And I hope this was helpful. If you want to say any last moment comments, that would be a good time. Rob?
Sure. I'm just so thrilled to be part of the Framingham community. It's such a unique city and a wonderful place. And I'm just so thrilled to be starting here with this community. Of course, starting virtually, but looking forward to being a part and to being here for the community as well, and being a Jewish presence in the larger community.
Likewise, I'm so excited to be jumping in with my body and soul to this community and to create something and develop something even more Jewish and supportive and communal and beautiful for all of us.
Well, I think that's a wrap for our get to know you session with our new clergy and in Temple Beth Am. If you're interested in more information, you can certainly call our temple office at 508-872-8300, or you can email me at membership@tempbetham.org. You can also go on our website and get in touch with both Rav Blumberg and Cantor Wolff if you have more questions. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.